no time for no tears and no lamenting the death of someone in the city when the city council members had the power to approve an investigation and they refused to do so. They are just as hypocritical, they have just as much blood on their hands as the other elected officials, because they will do everything but hold cops accountable. They put out all kind of programs. They might take money from the police and invest it in youth services or whatever the hell. And we say, well, what we want really, that's all nice, but what we really want is for your cops to stop killing us. We want your cops to stop using excessive force. We want your cops to stop treating us like an enemy of the state because we're standing up for the people in this state. We want your cops to stop using big-ass rubber bullets to try to take us down when we're using our First Amendment rights of free speech. We want you to stop using tear gas, very strong tear gas, to come for us when all we're trying to do is stand up for justice and help you regain your soul and your sense of humanity and purpose. Some of you have lost yourselves by signing up to work for the police department. You have lost yourselves by signing up for the National Guard and being used to stomp on your fellow citizens instead of holding people accountable who you know are violating the law and abusing their power and their authority. It's unacceptable. I want white parents who are watching these live streams to begin to be intentional on teaching your white sons how to treat black people. Because these are white mother sons out here killing people. These are white mother sons out here tear gassing. These are white mother sons out here using rubber bullets. These are white mother sons out here using excessive force. These are white mother sons who are criminalizing the black community left and right and got us feeling like we're under siege. These are white mother sons who are doing this. So what is coming out of your womb that you are allowing this to happen? White women, step up to the plate and be intentional about how you raise your children. A lot of times they want to demonize black families for how we raise our kids, and all we're doing is responding to inhumane conditions and being treated like second and third class citizens, and we're in survival mode. You all have all the power, all the authority, the law behind you, your skin color, and you still refuse to see the truth. But it's time for you to open your eyes. It's time for you to not continue to participate in a system that you know perpetuates evil, that fuels dysfunction in the community, that pays informants to infiltrate the community, using people to give false testimonies to send more people to prison. That's what your system has done. And then you want to demonize the black community for so-called no snitching policies when y'all the damn architects of the no snitching policy. Because you never cross that blue line to tell the damn truth. When police reports are falsified, you got a no snitching policy. When the county attorney never calls you, you got a no snitching policy. So don't try to demonize the black community. We know what happens to people who cooperate with the police. You cannot protect us. You know that people are afraid, but they get demonized because they don't want to cooperate with the corrupt system. Our community wants justice. We want to feel safe. We want to be at peace. We want to be able to raise our children free from violence, free from intimidation of the state. But you're not allowing us to do that. And it goes back to something that Chief Justice, Supreme Court Justice Roger B. Taney said in the Dred Scott case. See, Dred Scott sued for his freedom. He was born into slavery, and at some point during his enslavement, his owner actually moved him to the state of Minnesota. And Dred Scott was able to get married. He lived at Fort Snelling. He lived his life as a free man. And then when his owner tried to take him out of the state of Minnesota, which was supposedly a free state, a state where slave owners actually came to vacation. So they say it was a free state. But Dred Scott sued for his freedom. And you know what happened in that Supreme Court case? The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, a man by the name of Roger B. Taney, wrote in the Black Letter Law, the Negro has no rights, which the white man is bound to respect. That's in Supreme Court jurisprudence, that a white Supreme Court justice from a slave-owning family would say that black people have no rights, which the white man is bound to respect. He spoke the truth that had been in existence since before the United States was even a country. He spoke the truth that our ancestors had to endure when they were forcibly brought here, placed on slave plantations, forced to work from before sun up to after sundown, whipped until their backs did not have any more flesh, had their children ripped from their arms, black women forced to breed with any man on the plantation or the slave masters, and bear children. Black men abused and also used for sex by white women on the plantation, as quiet as it's kept. These are the things that have happened throughout our history. Our ancestors have never been paid for their labor. They were supposed to get 40 acres and a mule. Instead, what did the government do years later? Build some projects and expect black people to be happy and comfortable, even though our ancestors helped to build this nation. And we're saying that we're fed up, we're tired of being treated like second and third class citizens. Even though the signs aren't up that say blacks only and whites only, the actions are still in place that let us know there are certain places that we can't live, certain places that we can't go, and that our rights are not being taken seriously. We know that we deserve better. We know that we deserve justice. We know that this is our time to stand up in the spirit of our ancestors and to say that enough is enough. We helped to build this country. I'm talking to all you men standing behind that barricade. We know y'all got them toys. We know you got tanks. We know you got weapons. We know some of y'all wanted to take your childhood G.I. Joe fantasies and bring them to life. And that's why you're doing all this. We know that you have sold your souls. And it is just the worst thing to see human beings sell their souls for a damn paycheck, for some benefits and a pension. If you sold your souls, then what is there left of your humanity? Is it worth it? That's the question. You see we're out here peacefully, but y'all back there trying to strategize on how to take us down and take us out. The world can see that we're out here peacefully, taking up space near the first precinct, which is our right to do. Right. It's absolutely ridiculous that the government will go to these lengths to try to suppress the voices of people who just want to be heard. 2 rows of fencing, people who are tired 2 rows of concrete barricades, people who are tired of being treated like their lives don't matter. We also have the people who never get the kind of opportunities that you guys got, that allow you to be able to go to college and have a professional position and move up in the ranks and be respected by the white majority. Many people in our community never get those opportunities. They're treated like trash from before they're born. And then you guys, through your power and your authority and your positions, make sure that we feel like trash when we're walking and driving and living and trying to breathe in our own communities. Again, when is it going to stop?
This action started at 4 p.m.
When?
Continues.
Somebody say when?
When?
When? When? Aren't you guys tired of this?
Hell yeah.
How many times have you seen your fellow officers engaged in abusing people and you just look the other way? Like we saw Officer Two or Tao, whatever that man's name was, who stood guard. How many times has that been one of you? Standing guard watching your fellow officer beat somebody's ass. And you think that it's just part of the job. You laugh about it later over a beer. How many times have you done that? And when you do that, how do you look yourself in the mirror? Knowing that you abused somebody. That was somebody's child. That was somebody's husband. That was somebody's brother. That was somebody's uncle. Don't allow yourself to continue to dehumanize other people. Because when you do that, you only dehumanize yourselves. And you've got to know that there's a God that is bigger than the laws of the state of Minnesota. There is a God who is going to hold you each accountable for what you have done upon this earth and how you have treated your neighbor. Just as it says in Matthew 25, whatever you do for the least of these, you've done unto me. So what have you done unto the least of these? Have you abused the least of these? Have you lied on the least of these? Have you ignored the least of these? Have you criminalized the least of these? That is a standard by which you will be judged. But you don't have to stay in this place. You don't have to continue to cooperate with the system that you know is wicked and corrupt. As Pastor Mario was saying earlier, you have the opportunity to repent and turn away from your wicked ways. Even as you're standing there now listening to my voice, I want to ask you if you have not accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Now, this does not have anything to do with whether someone else does not believe in Jesus, because I believe in a plethora of religions. I'm a Christian myself, but I believe that people should worship however they see fit. But I'm out here coming in the power and strength of Jesus Christ as a Christian. So that is how I am addressing you all. So if you haven't accepted Jesus in your heart and you haven't repented of your sins, I'm inviting you right now to do that in this moment, silently. You don't have to let the boys in blue or the boys in camo know that I'm speaking directly to your heart. You don't have to let them know that the Holy Spirit is touching your heart, that the Holy Spirit is reminding you of the times that you disobeyed what God asked you to do in order to fit in and in order to feel comfortable in your offices and in your departments. But you know that I'm talking to you. And if that's the case, I'm just asking you to bring the matter before God. God forgives no matter what people have done, as long as you have a humble heart and as long as you are willing to repent and confess your sins to the Lord. I believe that you all were assigned to this post for a reason. It wasn't an accident that you got assigned to stand in front of the 1st Precinct, and that we came here to be the bearers of good news. That we came here to let you know that it's not too late to turn from your wicked ways. It's not too late to denounce some of the evil that you have felt pressure to participate in. It's not too late to let God know that you need Him. That you need a shoulder to cry on. You need a shoulder to lean on. You need strength to stand against bullies within your department. Because we know there's a lot of bullies at the 1st Precinct. We know there's a lot of bullies in the National Guard, but you don't have to let bullies punk you. You can stand up and say enough is enough, and you can turn those bullies in. You don't have to continue to participate. Let this be the first night that you actually get some rest. Whether you go to sleep or not has nothing to do with whether your soul is at rest. We come to bring you peace. We come to bring good news. We come here because the blood of those who have been unjustly killed is crying out for us to do something. We don't have guns. We don't have tanks. We don't have chemical weapons. We probably don't even have the law on our side. Our only weapons are words and justice and righteousness and peace and love for our fellow humans. That's why we're out here, y'all. So y'all can't come protesters are trying to burn stuff down, trying to do all of this and that, y'all have watched us for hours consistently be peaceful, consistently be loving, consistently be mad and speak the truth, but still doing it in a peaceful way. So that you will realize that we came to be of service. Service to God and service to humanity. And we're asking you to be of service.
So go home.
Say that again.
I said to him, go home.
She said go home. And when a black woman tells you to do something, you probably should listen. She said go home and get some rest, y'all. What we also want you guys to do is to use your voices when you're talking to your chief or your commander or whomever, and to ask them, like, what is this really for? Right? We were told by Tim Walz that they called in the National Guard in order to protect citizens. And, you know, all these rumors about white supremacists, but, you know, there's some white folks out here, but they're not white supremacists. They're not the people who are a threat. They're out here peacefully standing in solidarity with their brothers and sisters fighting for justice. So all we're doing is holding space because we think this whole thing is unjust. How do you demonize and villainize and attack people who are trying to stand up for what is right? I will never see Governor Tim Walz the same way again. Not that I have much respect for him to begin with, because we went to Governor Tim's office months ago and we asked him to meet with us. Do you think that he came out of his office to meet with us? We asked him to come meet with us because we said our police forces in Minnesota are out of control. They are killing people. They're using excessive force. They're criminalizing people. They're falsifying reports. Governor Walz, you need to do something. But the man did not demonstrate leadership and even come out of his office. And we were there in peace. So all we did was shut that shit down. And the way we shut it down was through words, through chanting, through standing our ground. So he can't get on TV now and act like he cares. He doesn't. He still hasn't put forward any systemic reforms. All he's been trying to do is appease people so that things will calm down. But what's his plan to make sure that we never go back to business as usual? What's his plan? I don't think he has one. So he has you guys coming out to wage war against your fellow citizens, and the man doesn't have a plan. How can you follow leadership like that? You can't just keep carrying out orders that don't make any damn sense. How many times have we seen wars fought on misinformation? Lives lost, places bombed, people killed, and then later it comes out in the media that the government lied. That they sent you all into war, risked your lives, risked your families, risked your livelihoods and well-being for something that wasn't even legitimate. How can we honor and respect that? My grandfather served in the military. And as a black man, let me tell you, he was not treated like he was equal. But he went to fight on behalf of a country because of his love for the country, even though it did not love him back. And that's the story of many black men who have fought in the military. They've been disrespected. They've been called the N-word. They've been denied access to opportunity. Some of them are continuing to grapple with mental health issues. You travel to Washington, D.C., right in the center of the city. A lot of those who are homeless, lying on the streets, lying in the parks, are veterans who were discarded once they were no longer of use to the United States. Now, the military might have discarded them. The government might have discarded them. But as human beings, we will not discard you. We believe that you are better than the systems that you work for. And we want you to rise up. We want you to stand in solidarity with the people. We want you to be able to look your children in the eye and say that you were on the right side of history. Not that you just followed a bogus order from a weak-ass leader. but that you stood on principle, that you stood for justice, that you stood for freedom, that you stood for equality. That's what we're asking you all to do. Why be aggressive towards people who are not aggressive towards you? We are here peacefully, y'all. You see this. So why be aggressive towards us? That's the honest truth. I'm really asking this question. Why be aggressive towards us and we're out here standing in peace? Standing in solidarity. What have we done that has harmed you, your lives, anything other than speak the truth? We're trying to bring salvation. We're trying to bring peace. We're trying to lift up those who cannot speak for themselves. I want to thank everybody who's out here standing their ground, because this is a risk. We don't know what these people will do. But we know that we stand for a righteous cause. We know that George Floyd will be proud of us, knowing that his death was not in vain, knowing that people in Minneapolis, around the country and around the world stood in solidarity on behalf of George Floyd and all victims of police violence. We just want to see a change, y'all. That's all we here for. We want to see a change. We know change gonna come. But change is not gonna come automatically. It takes the blood, the sweat, the tears, and the power of the people for change to begin to happen. And I'm gonna ask the people who are standing here with me, what are we here for? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Black lives, they matter here. 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 What do we want?
Yeah, we're live in
What do we
Minneapolis.
want? What do we
Curfew
want?
started at 10.
When do we want
People
it?
are continuing to hold an
What do
open
we
mic
want?
in front of the first
When do we
precinct.
want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Say his name. 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 name?
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
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 When I say black lives, you say matter. Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
When I say black
they're
lives,
grabbing
you
some
say
shields.
matter. Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives. When I say black lives, you say matter. Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Bringing them
Black
back to the
lives.
vehicle.
Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. Black lives. Say his name.
George Floyd.
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 Say his
Looks like they
name.
backed up off of
Say his name.
standing there.
Say
They
his
put down
name.
their riot
Say
gear.
his name.
Looks like next to
Say
the
his
car.
name. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name.
So I can't
Say his
get it
name.
super straight right now.
Say his name.
Car keeps moving.
Say his name. Say his
As
name.
well as my hands.
Say his name. 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 No justice, no peace. Prosecute the police. 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 Boots, boots, boots on the ground. We're here to shut this shit down. Boots, boots, boots on the ground. We're here to shut this shit down. Boots, boots, boots on the ground. We're here to shut this shit down. Boots, boots, boots on the ground. We're here to shut this shit down. Boots, boots, boots on the ground. We're here to shut this shit down. Boots, boots, boots on the ground. We're here to shut this shit down. If George don't get it, if George don't get it, if George don't get it,
Shut it down.
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 if Jamar 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
if Terrence 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
it.
Shut it down.
If Thurman don't get it,
Shut it down.
if Thurman don't get it,
Shut it down.
if Thurman don't get it,
Shut it down.
Tamir Rice 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
Eric Garner 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
Sandra Bland 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
Breonna Taylor 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 don't get it, Breonna Taylor don't get it,
Shut it down.
Mike Brown 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
Marcus Golden 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
Cordell Handy 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
if Philando 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
Justin Tigan 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
Travis Jordan don't get it,
Shut it down.
Travis Jordan don't get it,
Shut it down.
Travis Jordan don't get it,
Shut it down.
Tysel Nelson don't get it,
Shut it down.
Tysel Nelson don't get it,
Shut it down.
Tysel Nelson don't get it,
Shut it down.
Foamy Lee 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
Billy Hughes don't get it,
Shut it down.
Billy Hughes don't get it,
Shut it down.
Billy Hughes don't get it,
Shut it down.
Fong Lee don't get it,
Shut it down.
Fong Lee don't get it,
Shut it down.
Fong Lee don't get it,
Shut it down.
George Floyd 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 don't get it,
Shut it down.
do what,
Shut it down.
do what,
Shut it down.
do what,
Shut it down.
shut it down, 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 shut it down. Now let's do one for Mike Freeman, and then we're gonna do the same chant for Bob Kroll. It's just so simple and so obvious that it needs to happen. It's hey, hey, ho, ho, Mike Freeman has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Mike Freeman has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Mike Freeman has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Mike Freeman has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Mike Freeman has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Mike Freeman has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Mike Freeman has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Mike Freeman has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Mike Freeman has got to go. Now we're going to do the same chant for Bob Kroll. Y'all ready?
Yep.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bob Kroll has got to go. All right, give yourselves a hand. It looks like they backed up. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Give yourselves a hand. Okay, anyone else want to lead a chant? All right, so we're going to wrap up soon. We did what we came to do, which was to stand our ground, to take up space, to not let the government bully us when we're just trying to stand for justice. I believe we spoke to their hearts because they backed all the way up. Praise to God. Thankful to the people who stood in solidarity. You guys were not afraid. We should not be afraid because fear is false evidence appearing real.
Come on.
We stood in solidarity and we stood strong and they backed all the way up. And that's exactly what should have happened. Not us running from tear gas and rubber bullets or worried about being arrested. I'm not worried about being arrested. I'm worried about Black lives. Period. So I'm thankful that we stood our ground. I know you guys are tired. I know tomorrow is the memorial service. I feel like this was a victory tonight, y'all. Give yourselves a hand. So there's a chant that I really love called I Believe That We Will Win. So we're going to do that chant, and then we're going to do the Asada Shakur chant as well. And then we're going to have this truck lead us on back over in front of WCCO. We're going to call it a night so you guys can get some rest because we run here tonight. The people got the victory. The people got the victory on behalf of stolen lives. So I don't know if y'all know this chant, but it just goes, I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. And as y'all are doing that, a couple of us are going to be like, I believe that we will win. And as we chant that, you just keep going, I believe that we will win. Y'all can dance, you can cheer, you can shout, you can jump, you can do whatever you want to do, because whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
I believe that we will win. 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 That we Now some of y'all upbeat. Come on, y'all. Come on now. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, y'all kind of got it. All right, so we're gonna do the Asada Shakur chant, and then we're going to get ready to follow this truck so we can head back, because we want to get back to the source of where we started. We're gonna stay together, so everybody stays in your cars. Everybody gets back to your cars. We want to make sure you guys know that this fight doesn't end because they supposedly got arrested. I ain't see no footage, but there was a claim. Okay, there's a claim that they got arrested, but we know they got charged, and the charges are appropriate. I had other lawyers look into it, and they agree that the charges are appropriate. So now we need to keep fighting and make sure that there is a conviction, right? Yeah. So that means we got to keep the pressure on. Now there's escorts available, so there's a couple of cars here. If somebody just can't make it back, they don't want to walk back, there's a couple cars that you can jump into when we get ready to leave. But let's go ahead and do the Asada Shakur chant. We want to send condolences to the family of George Floyd, who are in town for his memorial service. Please pray for the community, pray for black folks, because memorial services, funerals, after somebody's been killed like this is very traumatic and triggering. So please lift all of us in prayer, you guys, because so many of us are exhausted, but through our exhaustion, we kept on fighting anyway, because that's what real riders do. Ain't that right? Yeah. All right, so we're gonna do the Asada Shakur chant, and then we're gonna have Pastor Maria. Actually, I'm gonna have you pray for us first. Then we're gonna do the Asada Shakur chant, then we're gonna go. Just prayers for protection as we head up out of here.
All right. Everybody take a couple seconds. Bow your heads for a minute. You don't close your eyes, because we still gotta be watchmen and watchwomen. All right, so I know there's that traditional thing where we're used to closing our eyes, but I'm saying we better keep our eyes open. You never know what's gonna happen. You better stay woke. Amen. All right. Well, Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for victory right now. Because we didn't move. And the victory means that we just stood in resilience, right? And we just stood in place and we stood our ground. We kept our boots to the ground, and thank you for that. So God, I'm just asking that you protect us as we go home and we rest and when we come back to revisit. But you keep everyone out here protected. We just thank you for the time that we were able to spend with each other, that you changed the energy and you shifted something here. So whatever happened in this space, right here, we're just asking that it continues to happen if it was a good feeling. So I want to thank you in advance for what you're doing and what you're going to do. So God, I'm just asking again to cover us and that you protect us from the east, from the west, from the north to the south, that you will protect us in all things. So we love you. So in the name of Jesus, let's say amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, let's give it up for Pastor Maria. And I know there was a young man that wants to speak, but we promised that we would do the prayer, we'd do the Asada Shakur chant and wrap it up. But next time you see me, just find me, okay? And I'll make sure you get to speak. All right, y'all ready?
Ready.
So repeat after me. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
So this time, bring your outside voice for our last time. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
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 All power to the people. All right, we ready? Can we hear some music from our sound techs as we prepare to march? Again, there's escorts. I'm so proud of y'all. You guys stood strong. You weren't scared. You were powerful. Some of y'all got goggles and helmets. You were ready for battle. But you know what? God said the battle is already won. He fought the battle for us. All we needed to do was stand our ground. And I pray that those cops' hearts are forever changed tonight because of our presence, because we were here, because we stood up. So we're going to hear some music as we prepare to head on back to WCCO. Okay, so we got to move the speakers before we roll out.
Ooh, my phone's at 4%.
We got to charge it. What you got?
I need USB-C.
We need a USB.
And we need to clean that foot.
Thank you all for joining the stream. We're here live in Minneapolis. This was the beginning of the march. It was about media bias. It started at WCCO, ended here at the 1st Precinct, which is heavily fortified. You see the barricades right here. You see the concrete barricades. And the National Guard in the distance. Standing next to and sitting next to the police.
This wouldn't happen without y'all. We believe in the power of the youth. That is supersedes man's laws.
WCCO. Liz Collin works for WCCO. Liz Collin is Bob Kroll's wife. People were calling on her to resign. People were calling on Bob Kroll to resign as the head of the Police Federation, Minneapolis Police Federation. Consistent calls for him to resign have happened. Today, 2 of the largest unions in Minnesota called for him to resign. That's Educate Minnesota and AFL-CIO. I think the park board just decided, the Minneapolis Park Board just decided to not have police in the parks. I'm not sure what that specifically means. Check it out on the internet. I'm out in the field. I don't have all the specific details of that, but I do know that just happened. I do know also Minneapolis Public Schools are going to divest from SROs, school resource officers. So this killing of George Floyd by 4 Minneapolis police officers has already had historic implications. People are defunding the police already and stopping to work with them. Those are very historic ramifications from the murder. Beyond those historic ramifications are also the fact that the officers were fired the first day, was day after, by Chief Arredondo. The 4 officers were fired. One of the officers was charged. The officer who had his knee in his neck, in George Floyd's neck, Derek Chauvin, was charged with 3rd-degree murder. That has now been upgraded to 2nd degree, I believe, as well as the other 3 officers have been charged with aiding and abetting murder. Those are historic charges. That has not happened here in Minnesota ever against a black man who has been murdered by the police. It has not happened in America. Very rarely do officers end up getting charged with any crime in their murder of other folks. So we're living in quite historic times where things seem to be changing. You saw it today, all across the nation too. You saw it today. This group here started about 1,000 deep outside of WCCO. WCCO is Channel 4, corporate news here in Minnesota. It started out there calling out media bias against police violence victims, calling out how the police narrative and the state narrative is always the first narrative heard. This march went to Star Tribune. After that, they ripped up Star Tribune papers in front of Star Tribune, calling them out for racist press, for being racist press. And then the march came here to 1st Precinct, where you see it's heavily fortified. You see the barricades they have on the street. You see the Fuck 12 that's written on some of these barricades. It's been the constant theme across the country. Fuck 12 and ACAB. 12 is the police. ACAB is all cops are bad or all cops are bastards. Sorry if you do not like that word. Or all cats are beautiful. Because cats are lovely. But the George Floyd memorial service is tomorrow. There's a party going on, building community at 38th and Chicago. Not really a party, I should not say that. There's a celebration for George Floyd on 38th and Chicago continuing to happen. Community has come together in a big force. People are feeding each other. People are giving each other supplies, what they need. We're still in coronavirus pandemic. On the south side and north side, a lot of these stores are closed. People are sort of stuck from getting food. They don't have it. There's been organizations and just people in general have been coming together consistently, providing mutual aid for each other, and just providing solidarity towards each other. One of the organizers of this group, one of the group that organized this protest was Racial Justice Network. They've been doing a lot of work coronavirus related. They have a huge list of people that they've been feeding, including a bunch of children and families. A bunch of families from We Win Institute, which is another local nonprofit here in Minneapolis, is youth serving. Had to shut its doors.
I seen cold out there, felt I should go out there. They left that boy 4 hours in the cold out there. They killing teens, they killing dreams.
Yeah, you got it.
We gotta stick together. We all we got. No police taking shots, and I ain't talking about squads. I'm talking about Emmett Till. I'm talking about a Zell-Ford. I'm talking about Sean Belly, never go to jail. Trayvon over Skittles, Mike Brown, cigarillos. Story keep repeating itself like a Biggie instrumental. America's a glass house, and my revenge is rather use my brain and throw a cocktail through.
Racial Justice Network run by Nikema. They were the one, Nikema and Marquise, her husband, the ones sort of organized this, as well as other organizations. It wasn't just them. About 1,000 came, as I said. It was a community mic, basically out here for a few hours. The action essentially stopped, I'm not sure, 7 to 8 o'clock. And then it continued because people just continued to talk. Some touching moments up here, some prayer, a lot of prayer up here. Now people are walking back to the starting point. George Floyd's memorial service tomorrow at 1 p.m. Follow us. We'll be live streaming that.
Tell me where am I supposed to go? Gunshots hit the car. Now I got the Holy Ghost. Excessive force was a drug, then they overdose. Got us trying to protest. It's a slow process. Heard it's a lot of rotten eggs in the crow's nest. People praying on their feet. Police holding on with heat. Turn on the news and seen a tank rolling down the street.
A lot of ice water toss, and I know it's all cost. My only question is, what we doing for the loss of Mike Brown? Cause right now I challenge you to use your talents to speak up, and don't you ever let them silence you. Cause action speaks louder than words, that's what I heard. Shot down with his hands up, that's what occurred. Man, that sound absurd. Matter of fact, to me that sound like murder.
Hey, yo, game, I had a crib back there. I used to live back there, so I know how you feel like that. People stressing, protesting, unity is a blessing. So it's time we come together, use our voices as a weapon. I am Michael Brown, I stand for what he stand for. The news say we didn't take pictures like we some Alamo High, NWA, CMG, holla rest in peace, easy. On these curtains, I was rough slain, I was saying, look, love from the pain, what you face,
They're like, I'm not going to break the law.
Okay, and I support the ALS just like the rest of them, but you will get to pay your debts. Because everybody cares for the niggas.
Oh, okay.
People only here for the
Yep.
what's the point of giving it to all? We never get in the head, might as well give it a heart.
Got my hands up, what else am I supposed to do?
And this crowd is about 1,000 deep and thinned out to a few dozen. Stayed here through the whole time. Heading down Nicollet Mall. This was the scene of the Super Bowl extravaganza. We talked a little bit about yesterday how when national special security events get brought into different cities, the surveillance technology and the weapons that comes with the NSSE stays in the cities. And so Minneapolis has new toys from the Super Bowl. It has new surveillance tech from the Super Bowl. And they continue to use that out here. We know that the high-ranking factions of the government are out here soaking up everybody's cell phone data, doing a bunch of different surveillance tactics, counter-surveillance, counter-insurgency tactics. Unicorn Riots uncovered a lot of different past social movements being surveyed by the police, including the No Dapple movement, Justice for Philando movement, Justice for Jamar Clark movement. Through FOIA's Freedom of Information Act requests, you can find out a lot. That's a free tool for everybody to use. Sometimes they will charge you to get the papers, but it is something everybody can use if you have something that you want to find out from the government. You might not get all the information, but you can FOIA them for it. Muckrock is a good company, organization that does FOIAs and allows you a platform to do it. There's tons more. A lot of these places have, a lot of these businesses have boarded up windows. There was a lot of extensive damage throughout the city the first 4 or 5 days.
I can tell when they not telling the truth. Talking that shit, nigga, what you gon' do? What you gon' do? What you gon' do? Black and I'm acting brand new. Niggas in the back like, oh word. There is all black like, fuck what you heard. Fuck what you heard. Fuck what you heard. Spilling some Hennessy black on the curb. Just for the memory of the deceased. When I black out, I will awaken the beast. What it's gon' be? What it's gon' be? You don't wanna fuck with a nigga like me. But you never seen my fuck so black. Nigga, I'm black on black on black on black on black. Black, black, black on black. Black, my back so black. Black, black on black. My skin is so black. I'm looking at black on black is black. It's black. It's black. Black. It's black. Black on black on black on black on black. Black, 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 black on black. My back so black. Black on black. My skin so black. I'm looking at black. Black revolution. I'm with a New York queen. It's an illegal aliens. I got a black fist barred up, and it ain't just me, it's all us. 400 years of oppression. I'm about to give me that black Tesla. Black skid marks on the pavement. Cops want to see me in a black cage. Black on black on black. Master Juba with the tap dance. Gucci with the dapper dance. Tell them kiss my black ass. Riding on the dino with the black max. Just another black man trying to stay about the cast. Yeah, black don't crack, matter of fact, where the fuck up 40 acres at? We black on black on black on black on black, 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 black on black, black, my back so black, black, black on black, my skin is so black, I'm looking at black on black is black. It's black, it's black, black, it's black, black on black on black on black on black on black, 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 black on black, black, my thoughts so black, black, black on black, my skin is so black, I'm breaking all black, everything is black.
I'm reading that the U.S. Bureau of Prisons pepper sprayed a man to death today at Metropolitan Detention Center in Sunset Park. He was 35. His name was Jamel Floyd. Jamel Floyd. Jamel Floyd was killed by the U.S. Bureau of Prisons by being pepper sprayed to death today. And Brooklyn.
Africa, I'm headed back. In the street, black on black. Kill everything, black. Cut up and see. That's the rules of midnight smash. Black, still got look black. We out here doing it all over again. This way. You may not make it the other way. And you may want it that way, but we out here this way. I don't care how you feel. We out here. We out here. We love our black men. We love our black women. We love our black babies. Bottom line. Black on black on black on black on black, 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 black on black, black, my back so black, black, black on black, my skin is so black, I'm black and all black, everything is black. Rims, it's black, wheels, black is black, black, it's black on black, it's black, black on black on black on black on black, 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 black.
Again, we're live in Minneapolis right now. Hour past the curfew.
You know, they really degrade you. White folks don't believe that shit. Don't believe cops degrade. Oh, come on, those people are resisting arrest. I'm part of this harassment of police officers. Because the police live in your neighborhood, see? And you be knowing them as Officer Timpson.
Hello, Officer Timpson. Going bowling tonight? Yes, nice pinto you have.
Niggas don't know them like that. See, white folks get a ticket, they pull over. Hey, over there, yes. Glad to be a couple. Nigga got to be talking about, I am reaching into my pocket for my license. Because I don't want to be no motherfucking accident. Police degrade, I don't know, you know, it's awful. You wonder why a nigga don't go completely mad. No, you do. You get your shit together, you work all week, right? Then you get dressed, maybe say can't make $125, we get $80 if you lucky. Right, and you go out and get clean, be driving with this old lady going out to a club, and police pull over. Alright, put your hands up, take your pants down, spread your cheeks. Now, what nigga feel like having fun after that? Oh, let's just go home. We go home, beat some kids and shit. You don't take that shit out all the time.
The younger nigga got his back to the ground. And let the other brothers of police think they have the authority and kill a minority. Fuck that shit, cause I ain't the one to do it. Punk motherfucker with a rap and a gun to beat going. And thrown in jail when he goes over toe in the middle of a sale. Fucking with me cause I'm a teenager. With a little bit of gold and a pager. Searching
to watch a short video, you'll receive 30 minutes of ad.
There's been a lot of arrests here, and there's a really good support team for the arrests. What we've been told also is that the last few nights,
Now to watch a short video, you'll receive
people have been leaving different spots like the 38th Street in Chicago area, and they've been snatched up by curfew. So people are now actually also giving people rides from that spot. The amazingness of the community coming through to help each other out is quite
spring allergies. But that doesn't mean
quite crucial.
Nasal congestion and itchy water.
It's quite crucial to see the community come through for each other. This is WCCO up here. You can't see it in the distance, but it has a sign on its top. It says WCCO. This is where the march started 7.5 hours ago. We were going to go to 30th in Chicago and get some filming, but we are not now. We will be live tomorrow during the memorial service. Signal permit, connection permission, you know, if it permits us to be, if they permit us to be. Going to try to make sure of that. That's at 1 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. Again, this was for media. It's end media bias against police violence victims. Liz Collin, the wife of Bob Kroll, works here at WCCO.
No matter what you need.
All right, y'all. This was powerful.
You can even get job lot quantities.
Amazing.
Right where you
Inspiring. Thank you all for being out here with us. Thank you for standing your ground.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all so much. We're grateful for y'all. Please continue to stand in solidarity with our community. This ain't over.
And when you go home, what you gonna do? Create a what? A war room. A war room.
Yeah.
Because just because you're not out here tonight, when you go home, you still got work to do.
Yeah.
So you got to create that war room to create an atmosphere so we can stand against the enemy. Because that's what we're up against.
So tomorrow is the memorial service, so just look online. That should be televised. If people get there early, they might be able to get in, but you have to get there super early.
What time is it?
It starts at 1, but you would probably need to be there like 11 if you're trying to get in.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if any other organizations have anything going on. We're taking a break tomorrow because we're gonna go to the memorial service. We're trying to plan something for Saturday for sure, but other organizations might have something planned for tomorrow. There's always the memorial on 38th in Chicago that you can always go visit. Thursday and Friday. Look for the Racial Justice Network's page, or Communities United Against Police Brutality, or Black Lives Matter Twin Cities, Black Lives Matter Minnesota, Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar. We all consistently organize together. All right? Thank you, guys. Whose streets?
Our streets.
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 Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
That's the boots on the ground.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
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 All right. Woo! Get home safely, everybody. Make sure you walk with somebody to your car.
You gotta understand, everyone here is freaking hardcore. Can we please connect? You guys.
All right, here's Ms. Nakima, who is an organizer of this action.
Thank you.
Can you give us a quick summation of what you saw today?
Huh?
We're the Workers' Defense Alliance. We'd be happy to do anything for you guys.
Thank you. You guys were amazing. Appreciate you. Seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gabe. You rock.
Yeah, can you give a quick summation about why you did this and how it was?
Yeah, so today was a really powerful action. We wanted to challenge the media specifically because the head of the police union is married to a woman who works at WCCO, which is a CBS affiliate. So Bob Kroll is married to Liz Collin, and we are just fed up with the incestuous relationship between law enforcement and media. So we're demanding that Liz Collin be fired by WCCO for her participation in perpetuating pro-police narratives and giving her husband a platform, and because of his racism, you know, as a police officer. We're just not going to stand for it. We're also asking for there to be more balance in reporting so that they stop demonizing victims and they start telling the truth about killer cops. We want more racial sensitivity training for everyone who works at these news stations, and then we want to see more black people behind the camera, in front of the camera, and as executive producers. So not only did we hit up WCCO today, we also marched to the Star Tribune, which has a long history of perpetuating false pro-police narratives and demonizing black victims. We said enough is enough. We ripped up newspapers in front of the Star Tribune, and we're demanding that they change their practices. And then finally, we marched to the 1st Precinct Police Station to stand up for justice, to stand up for George and all victims of police violence, and to denounce police violence and killer cops being let go and let free. We're thankful that charges were finally brought to all 4 officers who killed George Floyd, but it should have been done immediately after that video was released. And now we have to secure a conviction. So we're thankful for all the people who showed up, all the people who've been fighting all week long. We want to encourage you all, continue standing up, continue fighting, continue just being in solidarity with us, continue seeking justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. All right, sweet. Well, we will bring the stream down. Thank you all for tuning. Thank you, Dan and Chris, running the back end, and other UR folks. Again, you heard it. There's going to be a memorial service at 1 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to do our best to bring up a live stream from there. And
thank you for everything you're doing.
We won't be going live again tonight. If you are in the Minneapolis area, there's still a huge presence of people at the Vigil site, and that is a site that's consistently growing and consistently bringing community vibe and healing, as well as grieving collectively. And it's quite a beautiful thing. So yeah, thank you again for tuning in. This is Nico from Unicorn Riot. We are live in Minneapolis. We're going to bring the stream down. If you want to know more about George Floyd or check out the other George Floyd protests, go to our website, unicornriot.ninja. If you want to know more about our last police coverage, go to unicornriot.ninja and go to the police tab. We have covered a lot of police stories here in Minneapolis-St. Paul area, as well as elsewhere. And also, we've investigated, brought FOIAs made FOIAs that have found a lot of information about the police and how they're operating. And we have also covered even the back end of like police contracts and transparency issues within the new task force or working group that Keith Ellison and John Harrington had created this last year. So those are recent stories. Sorry about that. Those are recent stories here in Minneapolis. Check that out on our webpage. That was before the coronavirus pandemic sort of happened, and then we were covering a ton of coronavirus pandemic related actions, and then after that, this happened. And so continue to follow us. We're a small organization that's we feel like we're doing a lot of good things. Our mission is to bring context to social and environmental struggles, and we are a horizontally organized, worker-run, nonprofit educational media organization. All of our media is produced and licensed under Creative Commons. Corporations do not have the right to use our footage to make money from. We do not make this to make money from it. We make this for the community. Again, thank you. We're going to take the stream down, and you all have a blessed night. We will try to be back up tomorrow for the memorial service. Peace. We love you all. Peace.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for organizing. You guys were amazing. Seriously, we stood our ground and backed the fuck up. Great job.
Love y'all. Y'all people, love y'all.